The intended use of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests independently, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of UpDog Challenge Incorporated, its sponsors, or any other partnered organizations. UpDog Challenge Incorporated does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed. In no way should the information provided during the Sweet Spot, an UpDog podcast, be considered veterinary, medical, legal, or professional advice. At all times, the advice of your personal professional should supersede any information provided, derived, or inferred from listening to this podcast.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot, an UpDog podcast. I'm Andrea Morrison. That's a very bright Jack Bailey.
And I am Jack Bailey. Welcome to the Sweet Spot. We do not have a guest for you today, but we do have an amazing topic. We have not had this topic in a while, but it is a recurring one.
Yep. What is it, Jack?
It is the What Up episode. I don't think we've done a What Up episode since October.
Oh, wow.
So
I guess October.
This one is... We skipped over November, but... anyway, this is What Up December 2025. What is going on in the world of disc dogging, both UpDog and otherwise? We've got some cool things to share with you guys, and we're going to start with kind of the events that are going on. And Dre, what do we got going on?
Well, to give a real brief update for what we didn't cover, November was a mad rush of getting everybody's Q points for freestyle in Freestyle Crown and the Invitational. So that's why we were off the planet, because both of those events happened within 1 week of each other, which we would never, ever, 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 ever like to do again.
Yeah, very poor planning on our part. We did Freestyle Crown. The following weekend was Freestyle Invitational. And then for me, I don't know what you had going on, but for me, then we had the Florida State Championships.
Yeah.
And then the next weekend, we had the seminar, the Find Your Point seminar. That was a wild ride.
Yeah, that was a lot. So that was November. For anybody that doesn't know, for UpDog, November is a huge month for us to help all of the freestyle teams out there get their final points. We do have Freestyle Crown, which was the largest freestyle crown we ever ran. Whoop, 140 teams. It was awesome. And the level was beyond what we expected. It was awesome to watch, super fun to judge, the energy, the community. It was great. So that was for the Invitational and Freestyle Crown. Both of those went great. So for December, looking at getting the final qualification points for 2025. Everybody's trying to get their points in. We're looking to see what gets prioritized towards the end of the year, because they weren't played that much. The games that were played...
Yeah, it's always interesting to see which ones, like when you're looking at the postings for the events, like to see what games are offering, because... well, Funky is always one that, and I think, Boom was another one, and Freestyle is another one too, because I think for all different reasons, honestly, like, Funky seems to be, it's like the hardest one to, you need all the equipment. You need 5 jumps, you need a tunnel, you need the tunnel bags. So like, it's a lot especially if you're going to like a park or something to haul all that stuff there. So I think that is one of the reasons why Funky is always kind of like, brought up at the end of the year, like, oh my gosh, we still need points or whatever. And then Boom, I think it's just because it's not probably there's in every club, there's probably like one person that's like, can we please play Boom? And the rest of the people are like, no. So like, I think that's why that one is. And then Freestyle is sort of similar. Like, I think that there's a subgroup of people in every club that do freestyle, but not everybody. And so I think that, and freestyle takes a while too. It's still,
it takes more time and more judges. More judges present, I think, has been to this point a major challenge for a lot of clubs, but I think we have so many teams, so many people that are certified now, that's helping a lot. So it just comes down to demand. A lot more clubs are running freestyle now, which I think 5 years ago, it was hard to even find clubs running it. And now we have several like kind of keystone clubs spread across the country that are consistently running freestyle. So it's not as hard as it was to get your freestyle points as it was before. And now we have some online competitions that help with that too. So, and I would expect to see 7 Up on this list. You don't hear people saying 7 Up very often, or they're playing 7 Up very often, and it does require a good amount of jumps and equipment. So it's interesting that 7 Up isn't on the list of games that need to get points, or maybe people aren't interested in even getting points.
I think that one is because we created what, like 3, 4 years ago, or maybe even more by now, but we created the 3x3 version of that game.
Yeah.
So even if people are running a small field, they can still play 7 Up. They can still
Yep.
play for agility, but you can't play funky on a
Right.
small field. And if you're playing 7 Up on a small field, you only need 3 or 4 jumps, depending upon the course that
Yeah.
you're running. So it's not that bad. The minute the tunnel becomes involved,
Yeah.
and then you got
And the
all the
tunnel
tunnel
bags,
bags. Yeah.
it changes
So
a
it
lot.
becomes a chore then to get everything to the event site if you're
Yeah.
not, hosting at your own home or your own agility club or something like that.
Yeah. So
But
what are some events we have coming up in
so
December?
interesting, like there weren't a lot of people. Like October blew up. Everybody's got like a cool like, Halloween themed event and stuff like that. And so there was lots of posts on the discussion page about events in October, but when I
Yep.
looked, there really weren't that many posted on the UpDog Challenge discussion page. So I actually only found one for December, the Salty Paws Run, which sounds like a cool event. It's in Alabama, Foley, Alabama, and it takes place December 27th through the 30th. And they've got everything there. They're doing Fast Cat, UpDog, AKC temperament testing, Canine Good Citizen, a Fit Dog Walk. Like it just seems like a big like dog sport, dog
Wait, is that a
activity
dog run?
festival.
Is that like an adventure run? Salty Paws Run? Or is it just like a dog activity day? Is there like a it seems like it's
Well, there's
like a adventure race or something.
I don't know about that. I didn't see that listed, but I don't know why it's called the Salty Paws Run. Maybe just
Run.
because the
Yeah,
dogs are
the dogs
running.
are running.
Right.
I think there is an event. There's an UpDog event in Nashville this weekend. I think I heard at Nash Vertical December 7th weekend because I'm working this weekend. So I had heard about that event and somebody's like, come on up. And I'm like, I'm traveling. So I think there is one in Nashville. I don't know if it's been shared to the group yet, but check out Nash Vertical. They do have UpDog coming this weekend.
Well, and it used to be, in the old days, Dre, it used to be that like, November hit and all of a sudden there was hardly
Nothing.
anything except in the southeast.
Yep.
Um, but there I found just going to the updogchallenge.com/events page, like just go to the website, hit events. There was a ton in December, like way more than I remember in the past. Like we've got Jacksonville on December 6th and 7th. Of course, that's in
Yeah.
fair weather. That's a fair
Yeah.
weather state. Houston, December 6th,
Another
another
fair
fair
weather
weather.
state.
Probably not gonna snow, but check out the others.
Ontario is snowy. That much probably indoors. They're playing
Maybe.
year round. No, come on. It's
But look at
Ontario
the
in
others.
December.
Look at how
Yeah,
many
Grand
there
Rapids,
are. You got
Michigan,
Grand Rapids, Reston,
Virginia,
Virginia.
Connecticut. I'm going up to Connecticut that weekend. Well, I don't actually know when the Connecticut one is, but I know that there is one happening up there, and I'll be up in that area too. So there's
Those
lots of
were
indoor
all
spots
those
now.
were all that same weekend of
Yeah.
like December 7th and 8th.
That's
So
awesome. That means people are playing UpDog indoors all winter long. That makes us happy. Everybody's staying
yeah.
active with their dogs throughout the winter. You're finding ways to be able to play games in smaller spaces. Everybody's still having fun and staying active in the winter. Get you out of the house. Kills that depression stuff from being indoors and away from sunlight. That's great stuff.
Well,
I
and
love it.
keeps the dogs active too. I mean, we don't just like we need to get out, they need to get out too.
Yep. Yep. So speaking of stuff to do over the winter and in December, we have a new head judging class. So Mondays in December and Wednesday in January's. So head over to the UpDog discussion page. Both of those are listed information. You should be able to register for those, but those are head judging classes. So that's for our games other than freestyle. And those are happening on Mondays in December and Wednesdays in January. So if Monday nights are better for you, you're looking to be a head judge, check out that course. If Wednesday nights are better for you in January, check out that course. And that's for our head judging for our games.
And we do have freestyle judging going on right now. The class just started last week, so that one will go through December. And then I am sure we were going to start one very early in 2026. So be on the lookout. This past one filled up in like 15 minutes or something like that. Like it was gone. The
Yep.
freestyle course seems to be something that players are starting to gravitate to as well, which I love because
It's
the more
fun.
you can find
Yeah.
out about the scoring, the more you can find out what the judges are looking for. Obviously, the better you know what to put on the field there.
Yep.
So check that out. Early 26 will be another freestyle judges course.
The Disc Dog tracking app has an update. Very excited from Daniel Benny. So if you go over to the App Store and look for Disc Dog tracking app, there's an app in there that will manage all of your teams and everything all in one spot. So you can see what your queues are for your games that you're trying to qualify for, what your qualification points are, everything that's logged into our system. So he's written code that pulls data directly from the UpDog website, directly from our database where we put all the scores in, and it aggregates all those scores and pulls them into the app on your device. So you can see
Is this
data.
legal?
Probably not. But I'll tell you what, we are planning on redoing our website, so it's interesting to see how that changes. But for right now, the way that our code is organized, it's very accessible. And so one of our awesome members has written code that helps our other members to collect all of their data because it can be hard if you're tracking multiple teams. And maybe you have some, friends' dogs that you play with that you're trying to qualify for, and you have multiple of your own dogs you're trying to qualify for different games. It could be hard to kind of collect all that data and have to go to different profiles on our in our system. This collects all of that aggregate data into one space. So it just makes it easier for you to monitor all your scores and stats over one time, access your game rankings and your rules. The rules are in there also. You could see all of your game stats. It doesn't require any loading, record your scores. So it's a really useful app. Our players loving it. And that came out with an update this week. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go to the App Store and look for the Disc Dog tracking app from our friend Daniel Benny. Did I say that
And
right, Benny?
I don't know.
I hope I did.
Yeah, I thought it was Benet, but I'm not sure. Katz reached out to him actually, and to see if he could come onto the podcast and tell us a little bit more about the tracking app. And we'll talk to him about how to say his last name on that podcast as well. So hang tight for that. What do they call that? A cliffhanger. Yeah, you'll find that out.
Yeah, and some of our people have tried it, right?
Absolutely. So Bree Marie says it's been so helpful for points tracking as I scramble to get points at the end of the year. Definitely a lot of great improvements. Jen Berquist says this is absolutely amazing. Thank you for all your hard work. I also love that you have the UpDiff live fact sheet linked. No more searching Facebook trying to find it. And then Ty Fox says Sid.
I might
I'm
need to
sure
Google
that
I know that's a lingo, and I don't know what that one means. I'm gonna Google it when we're done.
So Kat has pinned the Facebook post by Daniel sharing the update information. She's pinned that post as a featured post, so it should be at the top of the UpDog Challenge discussion page. When you get there, it should make it easier for you guys to find. And like Dre said, you can also go to the App Store and grab the app there. So definitely check that out, and we hope to see and hear from Daniel on the podcast and
Yeah.
a future date.
Everybody call up Daniel and tell him to come on the podcast. He'll be like, what? All right. The new viral thing taking over UpDog. It's the bottom stamp buddy. What's the bottom stamp buddy, Jack? Tell me about the
bottom stamp buddy is this brand new. People have probably heard of bottom stamps on a disc. So when you have a disc, Dre, do you have a bottom stamp buddy disc?
Well, I have a bottom stamp buddy disc, and I have a bottom stamp disc.
Okay, so that's a bottom dyed disc, right? So basically, the bottom of your disc. Sometimes they can be stamped with something, or it's got like a design or whatever. So we have started this bottom stamp buddy design, which is trademarked. And you can see we take one of our characters and we put a little bottom stamp on the bottom of the disc. It's not just a regular sticker. These are DTF bottom stamp buddies. That does not mean anything that you are where your brain is went. Um, DTF stands for direct transfer something or other. Anyways, they get put on either through heat transfer or pressure transfer. And anyway, they end up looking really cool. And the word on the street is that these are like good luck charms. People have said, "Hey, I went out, I was having a bad round, and all of a sudden I pulled my bottom stamp buddy from my stack of discs, and things just turned around. I ended up with a personal best. It was the most amazing day, blah, blah, blah." So you want to definitely look out for these bottom stamp buddies. They're going to be showing up in places that you just didn't realize. Maybe you might win one somewhere as an award. They might show up at UpDiff. Anyways, they're all the rage.
Yeah, so you can
Yes.
try and get each of our little buddy dudes, and then you can also try and discover when we sneak in new secret characters that you didn't know. So it might be a fun little collectible thing for you guys to try and trade or steal or borrow or snag or purchase all of the different bottom stamp buddies. But mine is Diva, so I'm pretty happy because that was the only Diva one that I saw. But there was a rock and roll one that I
Yeah,
love.
rock and roll uppy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he looks
that
really
was my
good,
favorite one.
especially on like a pink or purple disc. That's a really cool one.
Yeah, so that's my next one
Um,
I'm gonna try and get. But they do bring
so
luck. And
absolutely. Yeah,
more points, the bottom stamp buddy, because in general, even if you can't throw, they make you feel good on the inside. And so it helps your confidence.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, who doesn't want a buddy out there with them?
I love we got
You've
our dog
already got
buddy.
your dog as an invaluable teammate, but sometimes your dog is all the way down the field and you're feeling like, geez, I need a buddy
You
closer
need
to
a
me.
buddy off of your own.
Right, so
Real
that when
close.
I make this throw, it's not just me making the throw, it's me and my buddy together making sure that it's flying straight.
You can do it, Jack. I believe
See?
in you, Jack.
That
That was the
will
diva
probably
voice.
make the end of this podcast with the audio bite at the end.
All right. So check the bottom of your disc for some secret bottom stamp buddies. And if you have any discs coming your way from UpDog, we might be sneaking in some bottom stamp buddies in there. So keep your eye out for that. And speaking of when we released bottom stamp buddies, where were we, Jack? What were we up to?
Well, actually, so they've been at a couple different places, but the latest place Dre and I both did a Find Your Point seminar
Mhm.
in Pennsylvania,
Yep.
which was a really cool event. Definitely a unique seminar that, unlike one that I've ever done. First of all, it was both Dre and I together, so that was kind of cool and unique, and I didn't know how that was going to go. It worked out great. And we basically did, it was a 3-day seminar, and we focused on the dog skills one day, the human skills one day, and the team skills another day. And we basically worked with dogs and people for the first like, I don't know, 5, 6 hours.
Of the day,
Then
right?
we paused, took a little break, and then everybody got together and we watched videos and talked about the judging and how those dogs, human or team skills, would have gotten judged and what the judges are looking for and what your numbers mean when you get a score. So it was really cool because at the end of it, I feel like everybody, well, first of all, everybody that was there for all 3 days left as a certified head judge,
Yep.
which was great. And I assume I won't put this into the participants' mouths, but I think everybody left with some great things to work on and practice over the winter as well to find those points. Dre, how did you feel about it? I know I just talked a lot, but how did you feel about it?
It was just a cool, interesting experience for me because it was different. I've been trying to do a combo seminar for like 5 years. And finally, this one worked out, which is awesome. So I didn't know how it was going to work out either. I've it didn't go at all like I thought it was, like I imagined it in my head, but I loved the way it went. Like I loved my favorite part was the learning at the second half, and I fully expected that my favorite part was going to be the freestyle, like working with the teams. But by far the content that we covered, the conversation that we had around freestyle, I feel like that was the biggest impact for people. I think that most people came for the freestyle from both of us. And the biggest value that they gained was a better understanding of how to improve their points in very specific categories, quarter point, quarter point, quarter point across. Like if you can make one quarter point adjustment on something across the board, that equals a point. It adds up slowly. And so if you're wondering how you can get from a 36 to a 37, or how do you get up to a 38, or how do you really get those minute details, that's what we really talked about. And we talked about what scores really mean, what the rubric really means, how to really use it so that you can slot people accurately and then adjust the score from there, collaborate with your judges. We do a judging course, and people have experience judging other organizations. And so other organizations, if there's less clarity or structure around how the criteria is done or judged, it's more of a guessing game. Like, I think this is a 7, or I think this is an 8, or I think this is a 4, right? And that's how we kind of judge the other organizations. And UpDog has been really persistent about shifting that into a rubric. And I feel like this course finally was able to fully communicate our intention of the rubric. It's really to make you guys, and to make it easier and to make it more accurate. Right. It makes it so much easier, and it makes it way more accurate. And in general, I think we all believe that judging is kind of a thankless job, that you sit there and you spend all day being uncomfortable, kind of cold and hungry and bored and have to pee and whatever, and people just complain about the scores at the end of the day. And so it's kind of a thankless job to judge, and we want more people to enjoy the process of judging and feel reinforced there too. And we want the players to get the score they deserve. So the point of this seminar for Jack and I was to start to communicate that message that we've been communicating in our online judging training face to face. And I feel like we did that. I feel like we loved it. And I am 100% in to do this at least once a year. I think that this would be cool to kind of switch around to some of our major clubs that run a lot of UpDog freestyle, and do another one for them, and go out there and have that conversation there. So I loved it. I think it was super valuable. It was different from what I expected, and the value came from a different place than I expected, but I loved it.
There were multiple people there too that had already taken the online freestyle head judging course, and so they were there taking it essentially again. But it's just different. And anybody that's taken an online course, for university or whatever, like, if you just know the learning is different when you're in an online setting versus when you're sitting there with a group of people and you're having collegial conversations, and you're watching videos together, and you're seeing what this person scored and talking to that person over there. And, we had great conversations that led, I think, to some really good understandings, led to some really good conversations that we had afterwards, because good questions came up that perhaps we didn't have an answer for, and we had to work through it and figure it out. So even if you are a certified head judge, it doesn't necessarily mean that you would that you're not going to gain anything from attending something like that. But anyways, like Dre said, we'd like to do it again, and we don't want you to miss out. So if you think that your club would be interested in something like that, reach out to us early, because we're looking to try to do it probably around the same time, right after the Freestyle Crown, after things start to kind of settle down, sometime late October, early November.
Sure. And I mean, again, I wouldn't be opposed to doing something after UpDiff settles down, to just do a trick as we're going into summer, so people can kind of fine tune their judging. I don't mind that either. I think that the club that has availability and the time, but know that anything leading up to April and anything leading up to November are no-goes for us.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I add some padding around that next year. That was
definitely leading up to April.
That was a lot.
All right. So speaking of that, leading up to not April but November, like
Yeah.
the Freestyle Invitational, we talked a ton about it on this podcast on a couple episodes, but I do think it's something to bring up now because we've seen the broadcast.
Mhm.
We had no idea what it was going to look like. All we had to go on was what we've seen in the past. But the way in which they handled the production on the AKC Disc Dog challenges in the past was they treated it as if it was like a live event. So there wasn't a lot of like post production, there wasn't a lot of
Right.
editing. It was just kind of like boom, boom, things are happening and this is going and this person's stepping out to do this round of whatever, and you see everything. Great moves and moves that maybe didn't work out the way they wanted them
Right.
to. You just saw everything happen. I loved this format way better.
Yeah.
The production value on the show, if you have not seen it, you need to make sure you tune in on December 14th at 1 o'clock or Christmas Day, December 25th at 4 o'clock on ESPN2 to see some of your friends out there playing freestyle or far out. I thought it was awesome. Dre, what
The
was like your
editing.
favorite?
Oh, the editing was so fun and so cool. Like, I feel like somebody that didn't know anything about disc dog or dog sports would learn what we were doing, and it was just enough. Like, it's like you go to a great restaurant and you get one perfect bite of each thing on the menu and no more. So it was like you get just enough of the best parts of everybody's routine and then it moved on to the next thing. It left me wanting more in every area. I was never bored. I love the zoom in hot shots of like breaking down the moves. I love how they showcased your and my dogs breaking down, defining that. And that was cool for us because again, we don't get to participate in a lot of UpDog events. And so to have an opportunity to contribute other than just judging, but to like actually get to play
Yeah,
was really cool for us. I think our dogs looked super cool. It was really cool that I was super happy that Megan, I mean, bummed that her dog didn't play very well, was a little nervous that day, but really excited that Magic got to be on the show. So I was like in the background, very happy that he got to play. But the editing, man, it was great. Jason did a great job working with AKC and
yeah,
ESPN to make
you did.
sure that like they weren't doing slow-mo landings of the dogs and make sure that they were showing all the routine elements in the best light because you know AKC and ESPN don't know the sport intimately like we do. And so having somebody there to make sure that we are putting it in the best light, because there's plenty of dog people out there that would be very critical if anything was slowed down and, we want the
Yeah.
most positive spin on disc dog. The purpose is for people to be enrolled and to want to go out and play with their dog. And I feel like
Yeah.
Jason did a great job of working with them and making the editing accurate. So it did educate people about what they're seeing, but also it kept it really entertaining, broke it down, and the graphics were just really engaging and fun to watch. The editing was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys, if you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. I already gave you the dates there. My favorite was as a ex-math teacher, my favorite was they had a couple like montages, one with James and Morgan for Far Out, and one with Macy and I think it was Riddle for
Mhm.
Freestyle, where they did a bunch of like stats would pop up on the screen as things were happening. And
Mhm.
like for James's, it was like the disc leaves James's hand at 57 miles an hour. The
Yeah, that
dog's
was
already 30
cool.
yards downfield with at a speed of 27. And then you see it shows the disc passing the dog and
And
then
then the
being
dog
ahead of the
catching
dog
up.
and then slowing down. And all the time you've got these stats popping up about speed and wind and blah blah blah. And then they
Yeah,
come together for the catch. It was really cool. And just sitting there watching it, I was like, man, that's so cool for James and Morgan to have that little clip of
yeah,
them, racing down the field for I think it was a 92-yard catch.
yeah.
Um, and they did a again like in freestyle, they had a couple segments like that too. But I loved all those stats. It was really cool. Kat and I watched it again this past weekend, and it's I we didn't realize it the first time that we watched, but as the dogs enter the field, like it shows the name of the handler, the name of the dog, and then at the bottom it shows like something special about the dog. Like some of
Oh,
it was like their favorite food is hot dogs or whatever. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was even there. I
did
missed
we
it.
collect that
So
information?
yeah, I think that they had done a survey or something like that. So like there were different cool little facts about the dogs as they entered the field, which is
You
was
know,
kind of cool too.
I remember Jason asking for that stuff as we were preparing and going over the notes um, of the invitational people and all that. So it's again, it was like it was like experiencing UpDiff for me. We do all this work over months and months and months, and we make all these decisions and we order all this stuff and we organize all this stuff, and then we show up and we do it. And it's like you get to see the stuff that you create happen, and then you get to like get the enjoyment of experiencing it. So like I don't know. I mean, we've done some really cool stuff with UpDiff. I think the last UpDiff was probably the height of my experience in disc dog, like walking onto that field for the first time. I would say that was the height of my disc dog career, just the experience of like this is us. That show, that was the second one, man. That was just that topped it. Just seeing hearing the announcer say UpDog, it was just
Yeah.
it was so cool. It was like we finally did it. We did have other
Yeah.
shows and they were great, but I feel like this
But
one was
they
a
were
a
always
whole
called the
nother level.
AKC. They were always called the AKC Disc Dog Challenge, and the only way the UpDog name got out there was through our logos on the discs and the logos on the fragility jumps, which is, why we did that.
Yep.
And why we worked with Hero to, do
Get the logos on the
half
disc.
Hero, half UpDog discs and get our names out there. But it was great this time, just like Dre said. I mean, it was the UpDog Invitational, the
It was
AKC
so cool,
UpDog
man.
Invitational, and it was all over. So, like, I just
Yeah.
think about how many people will hopefully reach
Yeah.
out to local
Yeah.
clubs and find out about how to get their dog playing and what games there are. And I just, I'm really hopeful that this is gonna,
Yep.
get a bunch of folks that have not played before out there trying it with their dogs. And
Yep.
the other cool thing was like we had, youth teams out there too, which I think is super inspiring
Yep.
for younger kids. They've got a family dog or whatever to get out there in the backyard and try it and, maybe encourage their parents to like go look it up and see if there's an event coming their way.
Yep.
But hopefully we've inspired new players.
That's the goal. It's been the big dream.
All right, we
So,
got one more thing on our list here before we get into our far out facts, Dre, which I have
yeah,
some cool far out facts for us to
you
share.
do.
But I've had a couple people ask on the discussion page, like, what's going on with our song? Because about a month and a half ago, the song that we had paid for, and that was supposed to be able to be used, somehow the contractual agreement was
Changed.
able to be changed, which that's weird to me. But anyways, we can no longer use that song. So we've had like a different song. I think the last four episodes
Yeah.
have been something different each time. And we did put out like a little bit of a blurb to people asking like, hey, if anybody, would like to help us with the song, that would be great. And we have had multiple updoggers reach out to
Yep.
us. Dre, I know you just listened to one recently.
Yep. Yeah, every once in a while I get a text with the new jingle. So they are definitely they're coming in, they're fun, they're creative. There was this really fun like hillbilly funky one that we listened to last. Cat loved that one. So we
I believe
are
it's called Bluegrass, not Hillbilly, but that's okay.
sorry. Doing the best again, Jack. Got the wrong word. Sorry. Yeah. So bluegrass style, that was real. It like had that banjo-y kind of feel to it. That was really fun. So we're having a great time with the creativity, and you guys are sharing your musical talents with us, and we're having fun mixing it up. So I'm sure we'll land on one
Yeah,
eventually. That'll be our permanent one. But at the moment, we're honestly, I think we've just been overwhelmed with everything that's going on in November. So we haven't caught up yet to prioritize finalizing our intro music, and we're having fun not finalizing it. So if you have ideas, send them over. We're having fun with it. And when we fall in love with one, I'm sure we'll pick it.
And if you like something that you hear, tell us about it in the comments so that we know, like maybe we'll do like a little vote or
A
something like
vote
that.
for
So
your
we
favorite
know
jingle.
which ones people like the best, and we can utilize those maybe on a rotating basis or something like that if we find two or three that we really like.
Why don't we do a contest? Why don't we do a voting contest? We'll be like, okay, so for the month of December, every podcast is going to have a different jingle,
Well,
and
don't put pressure on me now.
then
It's already December. Like
I know. So this
this
one
I
you're going
gotta
to pick a
edit
different
this. I have
jingle.
to edit this in like an hour, Dre. So let's not go there yet. Let's just say in the future, because
In the
that's nice.
future, we'll have a thing where we're going to edit the jingle every week, and you guys get to pick your favorite one. And it might not be December; it might be January, February, or
In
March. And
the
Jack will let us
future.
know in the future at some point. But we do have far out facts that are coming today. We don't have to wait for the far out facts.
That is correct.
That's true.
All
Okay.
right. So I picked some far out facts about good luck charms since we talked about these bottom stamp buddies that we
Yeah.
now have that are
They
kind of
bring you
like good luck
points.
charms. Yeah, get you points. And so I thought it would be interesting to like just dig in briefly on a couple of them
Yep.
that you probably have heard of, maybe one that you haven't heard of because I didn't know about it, but I thought it was interesting. These are good luck charms from around the world. We've probably all heard of the four-leaf clover, and the four-leaf clover's history as a lucky charm dates back to ancient Celtic traditions where its four leaves were believed to offer protection against evil spirits. Later, during the Middle Ages, children thought it could allow them to see fairies. Well, that would be
Oh,
cool. The first literary reference to its good fortune is from Sir John Milton in 1620, who wrote that finding one would lead to, quote, some good thing. So there's our good luck. In modern interpretation, each leaf is said to symbolize hope, faith, love, and luck.
and there's apparently approximately one four-leaf clover for every 10,000 three-leaf clovers. So one in
That's
10,000 luck. Pretty
yeah,
good.
that's some tough odds to try and find one then, right?
Yeah. And there's bees in clover, so you really have to like risk yourself if you're gonna really go looking for that four-leaf clover. You gotta face the bees. Are you ready for the next one?
All right. So the
The
next
next
one
one's
is
weird.
something I had not heard of, but apparently it's like pretty popular around the world, and these are called bezoar stones. Have you heard of them?
No, but it's gross.
Yeah,
Uh,
so these are perhaps some of the strangest and most medically focused good luck charms in history. Um, a bezoar is actually a mass of undigested material, often hair or plant fibers found
so
in the
gross.
stomach of certain animals like goats.
Okay, I did see this one special where in this country they feed this cow all this extra special grass so that they can take the grass out of the cow's stomach and the juice in it and ferment something in it. So that's the only thing I know about it. I don't think that counts as a stone, but it's still gross. That so
Are you
they what do they do with it once they
so
take it out of their stomach?
So it's an antidote for poison. The medieval people believed that these stones could neutralize any poison. Since some animals like eat like venomous snakes and things like that, people assumed that the bezoars
Oh,
contained a remnant of the toxin that would serve as an antidote. They were highly
yeah.
prized and often set in silver or gold cages, dipped into drinks to detect or neutralize a poison, and even used to try and cure victims of the Black Death.
Okay, I get it. I get it. Because that actually would work in some cases, and because they don't understand the science of it, they would just apply it to everything. But I don't want somebody's stomach hair dipped in my drink, please and thanks. That's super
You
gross.
get well, it's either that or a bottom stamp buddy. Which one would you
Bottom
rather have?
stand buddy, please. And I want the rock and roll one. Send me one. All
All
right,
right,
we're moving on from Black Death because that was creepy. A horseshoe's
I got
lucky
one more.
reputation. A horseshoe. The horseshoe's lucky reputation is rooted in both mythology and a religious legend. Hold on to your seats here. Fairy folk. Ancient Celtic people believed that mischievous fairies were repelled by iron. which was a strong modern material at the time. Hanging an iron horseshoe above the doorway was thought to ward off the unwelcome fairy guests.
So, a 10th century legend tells of Saint Dunstan, who worked as a blacksmith before becoming the Archbishop of Canterbury. When the devil appeared and asked for his horse to be shod, Dunstan nailed a red-hot horseshoe directly onto the devil's own foot, and he only agreed to remove it and ease the devil's pain on the condition that the devil would never enter a house displaying a horseshoe over the door. So have you ever seen that? I've seen that, and I didn't know why it was over the door, but that was interesting.
I have
And then
definitely
this,
seen that over the door, but I would say that this story is probably fabricated, where I feel like the previous one has a higher level of factuality. I would say this one that he probably didn't actually nail a red hot horseshoe to the devil's foot. I think the devil would probably just kill him.
well, I'm pretty sure that I found this on Google, so it has to be true.
It's gotta be true. All right.
Hit that last fact because I thought that was cool about the horseshoe. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So hanging it right. The direction matters. Interesting. Some believe hanging it with points up collects luck, like a bowl, or dust, also. And while it points down, it spills luck onto those passing beneath. So if you'd like to spill luck onto your children, put an upside down horseshoe over their bed frame, doorway. Doorway. So when they walk underneath, it spills luck on them. There we go. Into your
Yeah.
dog room, you could spill luck onto your dogs by putting an upside down horseshoe. And if you live in Texas, you'll find lots of horseshoes and stars on all the doors because they like to
And
spill and hold luck.
the legend of the bottom stamp buddies is just beginning. I am sure there will be lots of folklore around how it's helped people out in UpDog games and more.
Yeah, how it helped them get their points. Those bottom stamp buddies are really the message of the day. That if you want points or luck or a hug or to feel like somebody's on the field with you, your bottom stamp buddy has always got your back. But it's a collector's item, so you have to try and get the rock and roll one. Oh, don't get the rock and roll one. Just send it to me. I want the rock and roll one, please.
I'll see what I can do.
On a white halo. So like one of these halos with the rock and roll one underneath. That's the next collector I'm looking for. So go out there, try and collect your bottom stamp buddies. Jack's the one who knows where they all are, so you guys are just gonna have to call him. Don't ask Kat, just ask Jack.
All right, guys. I know it's winter time, and maybe you're not getting out to as many contests as normal, but we hope that you find some time to get out there with your dog, whether it's the backyard or an UpDog field. Get out there and enjoy the game of disc with your buddy using a bottom stamp buddy.
Bottom stamp buddy. Get your point.
In the meantime,
be kind to each other.
And be kind to your animals. We will see you next time on The Sweet Spot.
You can do it, Jack! I believe in you, Jack!